My girlfriend and I were going to the zoo, and my cat suddenly started talking. Quote,
"Take some grapes with you," it said. "The monkeys at the zoo love grapes. If you give them grapes, they'll give you gold." Quote.
The next day, when we happily arrived at the zoo, we found that many tourists were carrying large bags of grapes. The lions on the mountaintop were therefore staring intently at everyone, their eyes fixed on the grapes. Quote, "I hate grapes," my cat said. "Whoever brought grapes, I'll make them die a miserable death." After saying that, it jumped next to me and, with a sinister voice, turned the head of the person next to me into a face. There was a rumor that the zoo in the north was opening at night on the weekend, and that many rare animals had arrived. My girlfriend was particularly interested in monkeys, so she asked me to take her to see them. So I prepared a large bag of peaches for her to feed the monkeys. But while she was in the restroom, I suddenly heard a strange sound nearby. Quote,
"Take some grapes with you," the voice said. "I heard the monkeys at the zoo love grapes. There's gold buried under the artificial mountain where the monkeys live. If they eat your grapes, they'll be happy and give you the gold. Then you. What kind of good life couldn't I have?"
I widened my eyes in surprise, thinking I was hallucinating. By the time I carefully examined the cat, it had stopped talking. Do monkeys like to eat grapes? I thought monkeys liked to eat peaches. And if there really was gold buried under Mount Jaw where the monkeys lived, why didn't anyone discover it when the zoo was built? But it's better to be safe than sorry. If there really is gold in the zoo, wouldn't I be rich? There were only a few grapes left at home, and I wanted to order some takeout, but all the grapes in the nearby stores were sold out. Anyway, there are still some bananas and peaches at home. Feeding them to the monkeys would be the same, right? I suspected that I was under too much stress, which was why I was having auditory hallucinations. I was just going to the zoo to see the animals. How did it turn into a treasure hunt? I must be going crazy. I chuckled self-deprecatingly and immediately put the bananas and peaches into my bag. But I never expected that a simple trip to the zoo would completely change my life. The next morning, we drove to the zoo early. At the entrance, the crowd was already starting to push and shove. I saw the tourists around me gasp in disbelief. Most of them were carrying large bags of grapes, their eyes filled with an indescribable mix of excitement and greed. Everyone was cautiously eyeing each other, as if they were afraid someone would snatch away their precious treasure. Could it be that besides me, others could also hear the cat talking? I suddenly felt a strange atmosphere surrounding this whole thing. Even if there was gold, could so many people share it? Maybe it would come at a huge price. I decided against it. Later, while my girlfriend went to buy milk tea, a man approached me and put his hand on my shoulder. Quote,
"Chen Feng, do you still remember me? I'm your senior from university, Song Yichuan. Look, those people must have all heard that white cat talking last night." Quote, "White cat?"
Song Yichuan? Quote, I glanced around. He pulled me aside. I remembered him, but we weren't close. We'd only exchanged a few words before. He nervously glanced around and whispered in my ear.
"Come on, late last night, I went to a bar with my friends. On the way home, I met a cute white cat. It rubbed its head against my leg and actually started talking like a human. It told me to use grapes to appease those monkeys because they were guarding the gold mine under Mount Jaw. If I made them happy, they would give me the gold. I was drunk at the time, walking down the road, and thought I was hallucinating. I thought it was quite funny, but look, so many people are carrying grapes. This means they also saw the cat like me. If we could really get the gold, we could at least become billionaires. It's all my fault for thinking it was a hallucination and not preparing properly. Now it's too late. I won't be able to get any of that gold." Quote,
He looked so frustrated, as if he wanted to slap himself. Quote,
"My dad has cancer, and we've spent almost all our money. If I had money, my dad could get treatment. It's still in the early stages. After the surgery, he could live for at least another 10 years. Quote,
I knew Song Yichuan's family wasn't well off when we were in school. He definitely needed this gold more than me, but the desolation in his eyes was heartbreaking. I gritted my teeth, conflicted. I looked at him. Actually, I brought some grapes, but there are only a few left. I originally wanted to eat them myself, but if you need them, I'll give them to you.
Really, brother, you're so kind. But what about you? Don't you want to win the money?"
Actually, I don't believe there's such a thing. I'm just joining in the fun and won't bet anymore. Chen Feng, you're my benefactor. Thank you. If I win that gold, I'll definitely repay you. I didn't pay attention to his words, and took the grapes out of my backpack and put them in his hand. Okay, go and get your ticket quickly. It was almost your turn just now. Feng, overjoyed, held the grapes and hurried to the back of the line to queue again. Then my girlfriend and I followed the crowd to the first stop of the zoo. Dear tourists, this is the first stop of our zoo, the lion enclosure. The majestic lions are there, allowing you to experience the king's aura up close. There are also various rare and exotic animals waiting for everyone, with continuous excitement and thrills, especially the short-tailed monkey circus performance in Jiashan. The lively little guys are so cute, guaranteed to make you laugh out loud. Come with me. Quote, Luke and the others were very excited and looking forward to seeing the animals. I put my arm around my girlfriend and walked forward. She quietly asked me, didn't
"You say you were going to meet a senior brother named Song Chuanjing? Why didn't I see him come in?" Quote,
Bo also started to worry. If Song Chuanjing didn't come, how would he get the gold? What if someone else took it all? He wouldn't have another chance. This zoo was different from others. It closed if you missed the entrance time. Even when the gate closed, I still didn't see Song Chuanjing. But next to me was a group of tourists who had come by bus, and some residents from our neighborhood. Because the zoo was close to my house, everyone came to join in the fun. Just as we were looking at the lion in the glass enclosure, it suddenly smiled eerily, its mouth stretching to its ears. Then it stood up like a human, and then the lion roared fiercely, revealing its strong black teeth. Its eyes were wide open, looking angry. But the next second it suddenly spoke in human language. Quote, I hate eating grapes the most. Whoever brought grapes here, I'll make sure they die a miserable death. Quote, everyone thought it was a special effect. They were all laughing uncontrollably. Suddenly, the lion, which was causing a commotion, smashed through the glass and jumped to my side, brutally splitting the head of the person next to me in two. Seeing that my face was covered in his blood, I screamed in terror, only wanting to hide in someone's arms. Everyone present burst into tears and started running in all directions. Then, a group of staff members in clown costumes suddenly appeared. They were expressionless, like robots, and grabbed all the tourists carrying bags of grapes. The crowd instantly became chaotic. My nephew's eyes darted around, and he let out a strange, cackling laugh. You want to try your luck? What kind of extraordinary talent do you think you have? But I get nauseous just looking at grapes. Didn't you see the sign outside that says you can't bring grapes to feed the lions? As long as you don't scream or make a fuss, I'll swallow you whole and give you a quick death. Otherwise, it will be very cruel. Quote, he suddenly sprawled on the ground, opening his huge, blood-red mouth, from which several wildly wriggling black tentacles emerged. He continuously dripped black liquid onto the ground, which smelled incredibly foul. The atmosphere grew tense, and people muttered and grumbled, but they were still led into the glass enclosure by the staff. Inside the glass enclosure, a red flying sword, emitting a piercing shriek, filled the entire room with wails of agony that echoed through the air. I heard tearing sounds and the chewing sounds from the lion's mouth. My stomach churned, and I almost vomited. My palms were sweating profusely, and I gripped my girlfriend's hand tightly, unwilling to let go. No one could leave the zoo. They could only hide nearby, crying and trembling, their eyes reflecting the cold, harsh light. Those who brought grapes into the zoo were finally all dead. That's good. Now the surviving humans can start visiting the next exhibit. Have fun, everyone. There's a hotel over there where you can rest. Sleep well if you're tired. There are more surprises waiting for you later. I held my breath and squeezed my girlfriend's hand, a bad feeling rising in my heart. The staff walked ahead, and we followed them into an underwater tunnel. I looked closely, and what I saw inside wasn't fish, but a corpse that had been bitten to pieces, floating on the water's surface, its head and eyeballs protruding.